want to go into WandaVision episode 3. If you guys saw our last review, our last discussion on episodes 1 and 2, because I know a lot of people were worried that if episode 3 was another sitcom episode with no story progression, they were going to clock out. They were done. And I was worried about that too, but I didn't feel that way. I felt they released the first 2 episodes to kind of get us through that, what's established. They're like in this show, and then episode 3 is going to be where it's going to launch us into where the story's going. And I feel like that's what it did. At first, I was a little worried with the episode because I thought, oh man, is this going to be another sitcom now like in the 70s and that's it? But that second half of the episode really took off, and it's really set us up for, I think, what's going to be a really cool show. I think the rest of the show I think is going to be really cool. I think it's going to take us to big things, and I think some crazy stuff is going to happen with Wanda and Vision and that whole world. And it's funny because it does feel like a Truman Show. It's giving us Truman Show vibes. You know, Wanda is having a baby like overnight, right? So she's trying to hide it from the town, and then she has the baby the same day. And it's like, you know, it's a sitcom. It's supposed to be funny. Everything's funny and dandy. But then when she has twins, and then she mentions to her friend how she was a twin, which is a pretty big deal because that was the first time we hear her talk about her brother who died in Age of Ultron, Quicksilver, which that was actually a really cool moment. And that's why I think these shows on Disney Plus, if done correctly, and I think this one's been doing really well, is I think this is a good thing because it's going to help give more character arcs and character studies for these characters that were sidelined essentially in the Avengers films. You know, they were sidelined. So when she mentions Quicksilver, we didn't get that in the movies, right? Because there's so much stuff going on. There was no time for it. But I think when, you know, in this show, they can really flush it out and flush out the character and give us more character development. And I think that's great. So when she mentions Quicksilver, that she had a brother, and how she said his name with the accent, so that accent kind of came back a little bit. That was really cool. We haven't heard her talk about him since Age of Ultron. And then her friend just looks at her and goes, Ultron killed him, didn't he? And there was like this really tense moment, and it gets really tense, and then she sees like the symbol of the sword on her chest, and then she's like, oh, I don't know, what do you mean, Wanda? I didn't say anything, you know, and it gets really tense. And by the way, Elizabeth Olsen does great acting in this. She's doing really well. Again, they're giving her room to get more creative with the character, really just show her talent more. And that's what I'm loving so far about this show. And she throws her out of what essentially is like this dome that it looks like she's in, like this, literally her own world in space-time. So it's not like an alternate universe or reality. This is like our current reality, and she has like this dome, and within it she's in this different reality with these people and they're like, it's like, I think some of them are aware about it. You have some characters saying, like, some characters trying to, like, the neighbors trying to warn Vision about it, but they don't want to. And how she's done it twice where she takes control of the situation, where the first time she did it was when she finds out she's pregnant with Vision, and like someone comes up from the street, from the well, and she says no, and she rewinds it and then replays it again with a happier ending. And in this episode she did the same, where Vision is kind of questioning what's going on. He's like, everything's really weird, what's going on, this doesn't feel right. And everybody thought it was their TV glitching and like skipping the show, but it was actually her. It cuts and it goes right back and it resets it again, but it's him saying, oh, like everything's great, everything's perfect. So it's like her just rewinding and resetting and getting the response that she wants, so that there's no questions about what's really going on. So it does seem like Wanda is behind all this, and we're not really sure what's going on. She throws her friend out of the dome, and that's why I do think it's like this Truman Show, right? Like they're in this dome of like this perfect reality, and I think that's why they used the sitcom. A sitcom portrays this perfect world of family and friends and no problems, right? Everything's funny, everything's great, golden, and she throws her out, and then like the military's there, like surrounding this dome is like the military and coming in and saving the friend, and it's really interesting. Are they trying to get in there? They're not sure how to go in? We did get in episode 2. I think they were calling for Wanda like to come out. Like, Wanda, where are you? What do you, So I feel like maybe Wanda's like lost her way and they're trying to help stop it and help her. And I think it's really interesting. I love the speculation. What I don't like is I know a lot of people are impatient and are talking about, oh, it's just a sitcom. This is stupid, whatever. And I think Disney is getting that feedback because I've read a couple articles of the actors and creatives talking about the show, and they're saying, oh, once you get through the sitcom, you'll see how it's going to be crazy. And they're kind of like, not spoiling, but they're like borderline ruining the show a little bit. They're like, oh, at the end, like Paul Bettany, who plays Vision, said, oh, it's worth it when you get to the end because who I have to battle with, the secret character I have to battle with at the end of the show, it's going to be crazy. It's like, why are you trying to convince people to keep watching? Like, just whoever wants to watch. But I understand it, but it's also kind of ruining the speculation. I want to see where this goes. I'm interested. I want to see where it goes without reading this stuff, where it feels like it's like borderline, like kind of ruining it a little bit, because now they're saying, oh, but trust me, when you'll see at the end of the show why the sitcom was that way, and the ending is it's going to change the MCU and how you see the MCU and your perspective. It's just like, oh, hold on, don't tell me that, because now that's just adding more. I have a better idea of what's going to happen, what could happen. I want to be blank, and I want to be guessing every week how I'm doing right now, And so I understand why they're doing it, because, there's people that are, they're not enjoying it. They're impatient. They want to see where it's going. I'm really liking it. I do think that second half of the episode was great. Now we're ready to take off and see where it's going. I love the format change in the episode when Wanda, Vision asks, oh, where is she? I can't remember her friend's name. Forgive me. But she's like, oh, she had to leave. And it was like very great acting again by Elizabeth Olsen. And then the format goes from the aspect ratio changes from that 4:3 and it changes to like that widescreen, and it opens up back to the normal color palette, back to that modern look, meaning we're back in that modern time, present day of what's really happening. And I thought that shot and that scene was actually really cool, and that was a great way to end the episode. Now we get to see where things are really going to go. I thought it was a great episode. Great acting, great writing too. Like, the show's been really good. It's been taking its time, giving us more with the characters. If Disney Plus keeps going this route, I completely understand it. I think it works. It works for these characters that don't necessarily, they didn't have a lot of screen time or a lot of character development in the Avengers or these MCU movies because there's so much going on. So I do think this is helping them, because now this is making, Scarlet Witch and Vision more room to really develop and give us a little something there, And I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to do the same. I think the Hawkeye show is going to do the same. So I think that's pretty great. And yeah, guys, that's my thoughts on WandaVision so far, episode 3. If you haven't watched it yet, definitely check it out. It's getting good. Yeah, I think it's a good show, and I wasn't all in on it. I wasn't sure, but I think it's doing really great, and I'm interested. And it's different. It's a different take. It's a unique take, and that's all I ask for with the MCU. I love when they try to take those risks and just do something different, So yeah, guys, that's all I got today for today's episode. We got more episodes coming soon, so be ready. I'm really excited. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to leave any comments about what we talked about today, any feedback, anything like that. And if you're listening, likewise, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Until the next one, goodbye.